So I was watching Michael Bordenero, and he's saying that people are going broke. And maybe he's right. Or maybe he's not. And I'm not saying he's wrong, but maybe people have already been broke and they're not going broke. They've been broke, and now everything that's happening is just highlighting and exacerbating the problems that they already had.
We're talking real estate here? Or in general?
In the video that I watched, she was actually referring to a recent study that proved that I think it was like half of Americans had $500 in their savings accounts. And essentially 80% of America has less than $5,000 in savings. And this was something that I talked about in a previous video. So I don't think he's only talking about real estate.
Okay.
Although he's typically talking about real estate. I've seen him venture out into retail and minimum wage in regard to the changes in California, raising minimum wage at McDonald's, and the likelihood of this permeating and spreading throughout the country, and everything that's happening in California, good or bad, could potentially spread to other states. And he also mentioned how some folks thought they were doing the right thing and trying to boost their savings, but only to realize that Capital One Bank, which now has been served a class action lawsuit, wasn't actually putting their money in high yield savings accounts as they told them they were.
Well, yeah, because they're using their money for other things.
So, what?
I was gonna say, the reason I asked is, you know, if he was talking real estate and now looks like everybody's going broke, I was gonna say, well, it takes months for your house to get into foreclosure and things like that. So you're right, people have been broke, but it's just now rearing its ugly head when you're looking in like the real estate market.
I wonder how many people are broke that don't appear broke, that if things continue on the path that they're on, will be forced to reveal just how broke they are. But also, as you mentioned, real estate, housing, foreclosure, with being broke, quite possibly, what would be on the list of major concerns from being broke? Not being able to pay your rent, not being able to pay your mortgage, and ultimately being evicted or foreclosed on, as you mentioned.
Not being able to afford, well, I was thinking of insurance and stuff like that, whether it's homeowners insurance, whether it's for your vehicle, whether it's for your body.
Not being able to afford food. Honestly, I think, you know, we got to include everybody. And some people would say not being able to afford Starbucks, not being able to afford a latte or whatever. Where, again, another study came out that despite their financial situation, they would rather spend the money to have some form of enjoyment and satisfaction in their day by going to Starbucks. And the other being the necessity of food and eating, stocking your pantry, filling your refrigerator, being able to feed yourself and your family.
There's this meme going around about Starbucks, and it's basically, you know, Starbucks is $5 a day, which is what, $150 a month, something like that, maybe more than that. I can't do math, I don't know. And then they do $5 a day times so and so days in a month times this many weeks or days in a year, whatever, and it says that much money isn't going to be the make or break on you getting a house or not. So enjoy your Starbucks, or live your best life, or pamper yourself, or whatever. And it's like, that's the mentality though that is hurting a lot of people. That $5 a day doesn't matter, but that $5 a day literally adds up. So I feel like those things that are bouncing around, like Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and even YouTube community posts, are things that are aimed at making the younger generations feel like it is more about self-serving, like instant gratification, than it is working towards a goal.
Well, if you think about it, if someone's telling you that the $5 isn't going to make or break you buying a house, then technically, mathematically, they're correct. But the $5 at Starbucks won't, or the $5 at Krispy Kreme or Dunkin' won't, or the $5 wherever won't, but the $20 because of the $4 or $5 a day will.
And the gas money it took you to get to the place you were going, and if you decide to leave a tip on their automatic tip machines.
But also the financial philosophy and thought process behind that mentality leads you down that path of it won't, and then eventually you won't be able to, because you don't look at it like it will. Which, you know, if you look at the richest people in the world, they all tell you to live poor. But also, one of the other considerations would be losing your vehicle because you can't afford to pay for it. Now, again, this is subjective because some people, especially with cars, may not stop paying for them because they can't afford them. They may stop paying for them because they don't want them, because they're not worth it. I was trying to think. There was something I saw. Oh, it was that movie we watched last night, The Banker.
Which is a really good movie.
With Samuel L. Jackson and
Anthony Mackie.
Cut
the check.
And, you know, basically, he was talking about walking away from an investment because, you know, the money that you would lose was far less than the money you could lose. And, you know, neither one of them, nobody wanted to walk away from it. But it was a good movie. It was a great story, eye-opening. It was really good. My brother actually messaged me last night, and he finally watched Dumb Money, and he was like, "Man, that's a good movie."
It's such a good movie.
Thanks for sharing that recommendation.
It is on. Where is it on now? Was it Amazon Prime?
Prime or Netflix? I'm not really sure.
I'm not really sure either.
I don't remember exactly. But here we are. We're making a little bit of a pit stop here because the goal was to make it to the beach today.
Because it was sunny out and it's the first day. It hasn't just been absolute trash in the past like 2 weeks. It feels like.
So when this suggestion was made, it was definitely a whole lot warmer.
Yeah. If we walk down the middle, it should be good.
It was definitely a whole lot warmer. So now it's a little bit cooler.
We're standing in the shade. Maybe it won't be so bad. Although by the water is normally where it's the coldest.
We've lost some sun.
Yeah.
But
the sun has been lost.
At the same time, we do have another stop to make. So might as well make the stop now before later. Yeah. Because the sun will be setting in probably
sun's getting real low.
About an hour. I think the sun sets in about an hour.
I think it's like 5:35, 5:45 now.
Oh, but
hey,
maybe
they were here in the same place last time.
Maybe about an hour and a half.
Look, I'm about to freeze my feet off like an idiot.
The bubblegum pink toenails.
It's gonna be so cold. Oh.
So, the problem with people going broke, I think the problem with people going broke is the big concern is, I'm going to say, one of the major talking points that I see a lot in the news. I don't really see a lot in the news about groceries and food. They don't really talk about that anymore. I think that the food, those connected to food and grocery have made a deal not to talk about it.
I was actually going to say earlier today that Yahoo has changed the way they do things, and it feels like they're not giving you any information anymore. Like, I used to be able to go on Yahoo in the mornings and see all kinds of interesting things and things to talk about, whether it was in the finance tab, the entertainment, the lifestyle, the news tab, and now it's just fluff like everywhere I look, and nothing of of importance and nothing you really want to sink your teeth into and learn about and understand.
Oh, there's absolutely a shift in information, and it's to keep us dumbed down. It's to keep us not in the know.
Yeah.
But I saw something floating over there. It's, maybe it's like a duck or something, or a bird.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's a bird. That's a ducky duck.
And we got this little plane coming in. He seems really low.
This is really off topic, but I'm so excited that they have their locals and lunch discounts back now that it's not tourist season.
He seems real low.
He does seem very low for where he's going. He's very low for how far the airport is from right there.
Yeah. So I saw something floating. I know it's not a whale, but we watched a little bit of Christian Schaefer last night, and she was whale watching in Oregon.
Which is beautiful.
Which we were supposed to do, but we couldn't.
Because there was a storm.
Yeah.
And canceled. We were supposed to go see a bunch of orcas.
But yeah, I do think that Yahoo, I think that all of the news has been dumbed down, but I do think that they have a deal. They have a pact. And I think that's why you don't hear a lot of the news about food prices and groceries, because they don't want that to be a sticking point for the consumer. And they have a deal to drive traffic to Walmart, Target, super centers, super Targets, Publix, Kroger.
They need that money into the economy, so they only want to tell you the stuff that's good or silver lining or fluffed or fabricated to ensure that people are still going out and spending their money, still going out to restaurants, still going out to eat, things like that.
And the headlines that we do hear about are rent prices are falling. Rent prices are falling. I don't buy it. I don't believe it.
Well, I mean, if they went down 50 cents, they're not lying.
But they're not. I mean, they're not. But it's like, did the rent price fall anywhere, even by a penny? Okay, well then we'll pluralize it and say rent prices are falling. But what I do see a lot about are rent prices and homes and mortgage rates and eviction and foreclosure and bank repossessions and cars, and it's dying down. But that's the little bit that we still get. That's the little bit we still get, because it's getting real quiet. It's getting eerily quiet with how they're trying to keep us in the dark about knowing what's really going on and what's happening. So in that regard, there was a guy who just bought a new Lexus SUV. He spent $70,000 on this Lexus SUV. He said his car payment was $900 a month. And then the very next day, the value of the vehicle was $37,000.
Number one, how did he get a $900 car payment on a $70,000 vehicle? I'd like to know your secrets there, sir.
120 months.
Oh, I guess that would matter depending on how many months you're doing it.
I don't know for a fact it was 120 months, but that would be a way that you could get your car payment down that low.
Yeah.
On 70 grand. Maybe he had equity in a trade-in. Maybe he bought it for 70, but he had a $15,000 trade, so he's in it for 55.
That's what I was gonna say. Maybe there's more to it than that price to that price.
But he's saying that now it's only worth $37,000.
Was it a Lincoln?
It was a Lexus.
Oh, a Lexus one.
It was I think it was a hybrid. The new
Maybe
RX.
that's why.
RX 450E or something, hybrid.
I was actually gonna say the gas-powered ones would make sense. Don't let me step on that jellyfish that's, I mean, it's dead, but I don't want to touch it. Maybe the gas-powered ones are the ones that are losing immediately off the lot, since the whole push is for that full electric or at least hybrid in the next few years.
Possibly. Possibly. The thing is that I gotta look at it from the standpoint of the overall economy and the consumer.
Windy.
We're gonna go back the other way. The wind's blowing this way. I didn't want to put the sun behind you and get, you know, but I don't want to get sand blown in my face.
Yeah, that too.
And it kept blowing my hood off. But in regard to Michael Bordenero talking about people going broke, and the overwhelming sense that I feel of people going broke. The comments that I read, everything, the videos that are being put out there, maybe it's not true. Maybe it's just, and they're overreacting, and this is getting amplified and blown out of proportion.
Mm-hmm.
But if in fact people are going broke, or they're not and they don't want to, would you keep paying on that $70,000 truck that's only worth $37,000 the next day? Or would you just say, you know what, screw this,
Let them have it back.
you know?
And F the credit. You've already got your home. You already got everything else you need. You don't really need credit to go get groceries in theory, or anything else. And if you have a spouse or a friend who can do it for you later on down the line.
So that's just one thought, possibly, which is definitely going to hurt the car market, which may be why they don't want this information getting out, because the more informed the consumer is, then the less vehicles they're going to sell.
Yeah. Sorry, I was distracted by the waves. They're small, but they're mighty. You know what I mean? Small but mighty.
So yeah, that'll, you know, if the consumer knows too much, then that'll really hurt sales. I mean, the invention of the ability to access the internet from your smartphone, and Auto Trader and Cars.com and Blue Book, which when Blue Book got tied up with Auto Trader, that game was over. They started manipulating those numbers.
Because Blue Book is no longer Kelly Blue Book, is that correct?
Not really. It's
Okay.
KBB.
KBB.
They kind of like changed the name, but
Because they didn't want a woman's name at the front of it because nobody took it seriously.
but it changed the game. But then they took over control. The states, the auto dealers, they lobby with the states so that the states would force no more annual ad valorem. It's all title tax now, so that you really have to use a dealership to buy and sell, because private sales are no longer beneficial. Even with the tax savings going to a dealer, getting more privately, but most of these private sales, people aren't going to come up to you with $37,000 cash to pay for your $70,000 Lexus truck, because they ain't got that money either.
So when you said earlier the $900 payment for the $70,000 car, I was thinking about how one time when we went to go buy a vehicle, they were like, what do you want your car payment to be at monthly? And I was like, that's not the important part. What is my interest rate? Because a lot of people don't think about it, and they go, well, I'd like to spend $450 a month. And they're like, okay, cool. Well, your interest rate's 10%, but we're gonna put you on for 240 months. But hey, here's your $400, $500 a month like you requested. And a lot of people aren't gonna ask all of those other questions on, well, at the end of this $70,000 vehicle, I'm now paying you, you know, $180,000 for it after all this interest or whatever. My math is way off. Do not do the math.
The numbers are high, like the numbers of buy now, pay later with Affirm at Walmart. Those numbers are high. It's a 5-year plan, and you're paying like 2.5 to 3 times more than what the cost was.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go to a dealership. They're gonna be like, what do you want your car payment to be? I'm gonna be like, zero. Make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen.
We two can play that game. But yeah, so the private sale game is over, and
those are frozen.
And you know, the dealership simplifies the process for many people to go get financing. So this is adding to the problem of people going broke, and the other being shelter, somewhere to live, somewhere to stay.
There's somebody there.
And another situation, a family that quite possibly made a fatal mistake, as their content went viral and got them evicted.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell me that one.
Their content went viral, got them evicted, but they're saying it's okay. We knew that could happen. They knew that was a risk that they were taking. And essentially what they were doing was they were living out of a storage unit. And
which is illegal.
Got discovered.
Yeah.
And in their lease agreement says you're occupying a storage unit is prohibited.
Yeah.
So they got evicted. But you know, it's just interesting to think about when we just did a live stream about divorce and this new term called gray divorce, and in that we were discussing the
so cold.
Let's go. We got here.
Okay.
And I
didn't want to put them on because I love the sand, but now my feet are so cold that I can't feel the sand anymore.
So we were discussing the challenges of home ownership after a divorce, especially a gray divorce. And if you don't know what a gray divorce is, go check out the live stream because we learned that today. But part of that was the amount of people who would be renting due to circumstances beyond their control, quite possibly being divorce. So I hear people who say, well, you're stupid if you rent. It's dumb to rent. You're wasting your money if you're renting. But if you're living out of a storage unit and that's the best you can do, can we really say that it's dumb to rent?
No, not at all.
You don't have the financial, you don't have the means to afford anything else.
No, so renting is the best option for numerous people, whether it be because money-wise or because their job moves them around. You don't want to own a home that you have to turn around and sell every year or every 18 months. Renting makes the most sense.
But I also think that with this conversation that Michael Bordenero was having about people are going broke, well, if people are going broke, then odds are people are going to be renting. If you're going broke, you're not buying a house.
No.
You know? You got a little train horn going on.
Honk.
We've never actually tried this coffee shop, Candy.
I want to go in there one day.
May have to check it out.
And one day, I'm going back there for lunch. I gotta get the sand out of the shoe real fast. Make sure I don't break a nail.
I wonder if, I think Florida might be one of the, maybe Florida and, I would say Florida and California, maybe any coastal beach state, they would allow you to legally drive barefoot.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to prove that, hey, I need to see some sand in there. I need to see some sand in the floorboard.
They cleaned my Jeep or else there would have been a ton of sand in there.
But I mean, here, spring and summer, some folks don't even put shoes on. I see people riding bicycles barefoot, which
that sounds painful.
It's just scary to me.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you got to put your foot down when you're riding a bike.
Yeah.
But
that
oh my God,
what is it called? Road burn?
Road rash.
Road rash.
And so yeah, Michael Bordenero, he brought up some really good points, and he touched on some really good topics and subjects about people going broke. And you know, it really made me think about where we are right now and where the economy is going, where jobs are going, the good, the bad, the ugly, the news that we are not being provided, the information that's being withheld, and the banks that are playing these games. Ultimately, everybody's out there trying to screw everybody else out of their money, while at a time we're being told that 80% of America doesn't have any money. So where does that put us in the long run?
Up a creek.
Up a creek. I mean, where's the upside? Where's the benefit? Where's the help? Where's the aid?
Where's the upper river? Anyway. Well, it's not from the government because they're helping everybody but us.
The government, yeah.
And do you really want the government helping you?
I guess that's a good question. I mean, there's an ulterior motive. There's a plan there, and whatever they give you, they're going to take back tenfold.
Yeah, easily.
Thanks for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe. See you guys later.